Welcome to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast, where we provide constant improvement to businesses through timely, actionable financial solutions. Do you want answers to your financial questions? Email us at bsp@kaizencpas.com. I'm your host, Mark Valesky. Now let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Kaizen Time. I'm joined by Brian Bride, Director of Payroll Operations. Brian, we talk a lot about compliance here, specifically with you. I would dare say you're the master of compliance.
Well, I wouldn't say.
In this building, you are like in the expert.
Yes, payroll and HR compliance. Yes.
Okay.
It's passion.
So, that still astounds me, but let's carry on. The I-9. This seems to be an issue with compliance.
Yeah.
What is the big deal?
So the I-9 document, if you don't know what it is, it's the document that you use to authorize if somebody's eligible to work in the United States. So it's part of making sure that they're valid to work, that there's who they say they are, they're not somebody else showing up on the first day to work, that you're paying the right person, that they're authorized to work here, that they're not somebody is not supposed to be here. So it's a really important piece that you're required to collect as an employer. So let's tell a little story. So let's say you hire a new employee and you're like, oh, everybody loves the new employee. We're going to hire them, right? Call the references, all references check out, but you have a paper onboarding system, right? So they show up the first day of work, you hand them the packet and you're like, here you go, fill out the paperwork, right? So they start writing the information and maybe they're 7 and their social security number looks like a 9, right? Happens. It's happened to us. You collect all the paperwork from them. You give it to your HR person or payroll person. They enter in the information. Gets loaded. You pay them for 6 months. Their W-2 season comes around. They go, hey, my social security number's wrong. You go back to paperwork. You see that, yeah, it looks messy. You fix it. Now you're issuing a W-2C, right? So that's for the employee. That's where like it's difficult, right? Where they're like, this is annoying. I get all my tax credits. But now the thing is, if they provide a social security number during your I-9, you just fail the compliance, right? All because you couldn't read their writing.
Right.
So if you have an onboarding system that's self-service where they enter it in themselves, like, electronically or on their phone or on a computer, you don't really have these issues, right? Because they're typing the numbers in, they're nice and clear. Can somebody type it wrong? Sure. But you're comparing the information, you're looking for it. You're not like, oh, is this a 7 or a 9? You know what it looks like on a computer screen, right? The employees get to upload their information on there. So they're uploading their driver's license and a copy of their social security card. So when they show up for the first day of work, if they're in person, you still have to examine them, right? That's the main thing of I-9 compliance is the form that I have in my left hand the same as my documents I have in my right hand? Driver's license, social security card are the most common.
Do the numbers match?
Do the numbers match, right? So, with a payroll system, it's cleaner. You can see it on there. You can double check it. You're good to go, right? Now, sometimes you hire a remote employee, right? And because of COVID, they were really lax in the rules, right? So they'd be like, well, you have to examine it, or, if they're remote, that's fine. But now that remote employees are either a part of your organization or it's less common, whatever you decide to do, now there's rules for a remote examination. So if you have a remote employee you're hiring, one, it's really hard to send them paper or have them fill it out and scan and fax it to you. Like that's pretty crazy. You have to do a remote examination. That means you have to record yourself looking at their driver's license and looking at their social security card.
Wow.
So if you were going to be in I-9 compliant with hiring a remote employee, you have to do that. I would suggest you record it so you can prove that you actually did it, right? If someone comes back to you, now you have everything right in the system. You have your I-9, they filled out online. You have a copy of their driver's license, a copy of the social security card that they scanned and send you. Then you have the remote, screen share recording of you looking at them, making sure it's the right person. So that's why you really want to put in the payroll system so you can upload those kind of files, right? You can have your file with your remote examinations. Now, I solved also, and a lot of companies are with this too, ADP, Paychecks, Paylocity, all the pays they have it too. They also have an I-9 compliance dashboard. So the great thing about that is, maybe you're doing onboarding and they're filling out the I-9, but you're not seeing it until their first day of work, right? First day of work comes in, you can go right to the I-9 dashboard and it'll tell you, oh, you put their first day of work in as today, the 26th. You have until the 30th to verify this information. It will tell you, you need to verify it because if you don't do it within 3 days, you're not compliant anymore. So that's why a lot of times people used to do, hey, when you come the first day of work, just fill it out. I'll look at it, right? Yeah. Filling it out and giving you a picture, no longer valid for being I-9 compliant. Just saying, oh, I hired a remote employee. He sent me a scan of his driver's license. We're good. No longer good enough for the government. So being able to record that, see it, be able to, look at it and you know what you're getting, right? So it's another way to protect yourself. If they send you ahead of time and you start to examine the first day, you know what you're looking for, right? You're like, oh, we're doing your I-9 with your driver's license, social security number. Do you have it? Oh, no, I don't have it. Well, why don't you? You gave it to me before. That really helps you protect yourself, right? And so iSolve has this, many others have it. The other part is they can connect straight to E-Verify. So if you have an E-Verify account, which is the government checking the social security number, in Illinois, it's not required. In some states it is. Florida, it's required. Other states it is. We can connect your E-Verify account right to iSolved, so you're running the cases straight in there. So you don't have to go out to another system to verify it. You can submit the E-Verify information right then and there. It'll tell you if it's valid or not.
Would you say that it is foolproof? Would you say it's very foolproof?
Well, most, systems aren't foolproof, right? Mm-hmm. But I would say 99.9%, if you follow kind of what we just said here, you're going to be successful, right? So what immigration INS is looking for this is a repeatable process, right? So every single time somebody starts to work for you, if you put them through the same paces, that's what they're looking for, right? You also have to remember, like sometimes if you're a larger organization, you have multiple people checking these items. So if you have a repeatable process, there's a process to follow that's written down and very clear. Anybody can do it, right?
Right.
Anybody can log into a system, click I-9 dashboard, look at the information, compare it, and say, okay, it's good, right? So having that kind of process documented is really, really important to be compliant too, right? Saving those remote examinations will also keep you compliant, and having them in the system will be very helpful for that. And then, not following the process where error happens, where it's, maybe you have maybe you're a restaurant, right? And you have a lot of different locations all around, and you have maybe 2 HR people, but you're relying on the managers, in the store to look at it, right? If they're not getting the information and clearing it on their end, then you're not compliant and you lose control, right? So being able to process where, a manager can look at this, log in the system, say, I looked at it, we're good to go. Helps you with your compliance to say, hey, this person's following procedure or no, they're not. So it's really, really important to have a repeatable process with a workflow that's accessed by folks on the computer so that they can go straight through and be like, all right, I follow all the process. This person's I-9 has passed.
Do you ever have situations where, people are on a plan form, like a single payroll, where there is a major problem that is caused by information being put in wrong? Or is there a way that it's detected early on?
Well, so we have done a couple things in that, right? So there's Social Security validation services. We use the Social Security Administration every quarter as a payroll provider. We check it. So we run it against, and then we report to the clients, hey, this name doesn't match the Social Security number. That's what we use currently as we're looking for other, ways to validate the information. But that's something we do as a payroll service bureau to make sure that it's right. So that will catch one where hey, maybe the number's entered in wrong because they won't match. It'd be easier to check. Like you said, it's not foolproof, right? Because if somebody is new to the workforce, maybe they just got a social issue. It could take a little time for the stuff to catch up and be there. Not necessarily somebody who's been, born here, but somebody gets a green card. Now they're authorized to work on here and they have a social security number. It can take a little while for that information to be updated.
Yeah. What do you believe is the most important thing that we haven't discussed about I-9 compliance?
Sure. So we're going to talk about the fines, right? The amount of fines. Now, remember,
there's always fines.
There's always
in case
fines.
You guys didn't know, there's always fines with compliance.
Right. So the amount of fines is per form, and it starts at $286. We just verified that amount. And so it goes up with the more that happens to you, right? So if you have, much more, you're consistently doing it, they raise the fine. You could have a fine up to $2,861 per occurrence. So let's say you have maybe, you hired a bunch of part-timers, right, during the summer because you run an ice cream shop. I don't know, right? And you're not
maybe a Dairy Queen in New York.
Right, Dairy Queen in New York, right? With the weekly, bi-weekly. And you're not following I-9, right? You got 10, 12, 14 people going through there. Maybe that, maybe you got 30 employees by the end of the summer, right? People working a couple weeks, not working out for them. They go on vacation, don't come back. That's 286 per occurrence, right? You're getting up there in big dollars really, really quickly if you're not compliant.
Brian, would you ever go back to paper?
Oh,
would you ever go back to the old way of compliance?
No, we have many projects here at YPD about trying to get rid of paper and being more electronic because it's safer, more efficient, just more clear, easier in the environment, right? It's everything to go as electronic as possible with everything that we do.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
You've been listening to Kaizen Time, part of the Blood, Sweat, and Business podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. This podcast has been brought to you by Kaizen CPAs Plus Advisors, providing advisory and accounting services to help you grow your business. Learn more at kaizencpas.com or email us at bsb@kaizencpas.com.